Hi guys, welcome to another video. It's 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗰 here. Thanks for coming. As always, for the subscribers, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, as well as the members. Thank you so much for the support. Today's video is something that I landed on, and I think it's very important. Like, I usually talk about these things majority of the times, but yeah, watch this clip, come back, and let's talk about it.
Here's the point. If you're a white guy, especially from the West, if you're from the West, it's easy for you to insert yourself into the highest reaches of African society. Because in Africa, automatically, by being American or European, you will be taken more seriously. People will take you more seriously, the African people will take you more seriously, and you will be at a automatically higher echelon just because of where you come from. Now, of course, in business, it's all about who you know. It's all about what social circles you move in, all right? And this is something that people don't like to admit, but it's true.
Western Africa is starting to get pretty rich, and a lot of international investors are overlooking the opportunities that exist in countries like Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire. I believe that the next generation of ultra-rich billionaires in real estate are going to come from Western Africa. I had an opportunity to do consultation for a development company in Abidjan, and what I saw there was very surprising. The main business district, which is called Plateau, was so well developed that you would have mistaken it for a very wealthy Western city. And some of the areas that were less wealthy, like Cocody, had houses that would put any of our McMansions to shame. We need to have Western-style finance, which is already coming out there, mainly through Deutsche Bank and some of the Swiss banks that are making a lot of inroads into West Africa. As more of us Western investors realize that we can make amazing returns in Africa, we're going to start putting money in there, and it's just going to fuel a big fire.
Ghana has made selling houses to foreigners easy. Some people argue a little too easy. Essentially, the government of Ghana planned to jumpstart the economy by encouraging the diaspora to move back to Africa. In our Ghana developments, Western money is responsible for many of our home sales, particularly in the more expensive areas. So let's talk about the new homes that we sell over $200,000. At this price point, 48% of our buyers bring their money from overseas, while 52% of our sales come from Ghanaians living in Ghana that made their money in Ghana. 4% are from European background, and 16% are of Asian, Indian, Turkish, or Latino descent. So contrary to what people may think, less than 10% of our total buyers have a non-African ethnic background, while only 2% have a European background, though I suspect that will change as Ghana continues to grow in popularity among Europeans and Asians. So is there any truth to the statement that overseas investors are pricing out native Ghanaians? Well, I would argue this is certainly true in the more popular neighborhoods in Accra, especially near the airport. However, the reason I believe prices are rising in general is that West Africa is becoming richer in general, and homeowners are realizing that they can demand a lot more money for the best lots, regardless of the presence of overseas investors. And even though it could be argued that overseas investors could push up prices slightly, they are also injecting a lot of money into West African economies, creating jobs and businesses that will support Africa's continued ascent. For instance, a typical retiring couple in West Africa could easily spend 75 to 200,000 cedi every single month, and that is big-time economic growth. So to me, the pros of overseas investors coming to Ghana greatly outweighs the cons. And if you're from West Africa, are you happy we are bringing in Westerners with a lot of money to spend, or are we driving up prices too much?
As you see in the video, those are two white men, and they are saying the things that I always encourage you on, and that is investing in the continent. As you've seen, the first one is so much knowing that they have privilege when they come in the continent. Like he said, if you are a white person from America or Europe, you'll be given more grace, more respect. You'll be seen as someone who is better, who understands things more, meaning you get better opportunities than anybody else in that country, in the African continent. And this is something that a lot of them are using to come and set up things in the continent. Like you had the second man also talk about how he has a real estate company in Ghana, West Africa, and he's able to sell it to the diaspora people, like people who come from abroad, the Chinese, the whites. And I think this is very important, especially for a person coming from abroad, to understand. When I come here on this platform and I say Africa is the future, a lot of people see that and know that. Like I always say, we have a lot of Indians in Uganda, a lot of Chinese in Uganda, not just Uganda, a lot of them in the African continent, the white people themselves, the Arabs are also coming back again. Like we all know, most people don't want to talk about it. They were the most enslavers of African people, but they are still coming back in the continent because they are seeing opportunities and more opportunities coming up. Africa is going to have a large population in the future, especially the young generation of people. As you all know, it's like a lot of people in Africa are under 45, under 30, and I think that is a very good thing for a continent where if we have that kind of generation and population in that like age gap, it's something that is important for the economic growth of the countries in Africa, where the manpower is going to be young, the minds are going to be young, the people that are going to be in charge of things are now going to be young. So when the people that are not from the continent or have any relation to the continent come in and they are setting up things in the continent, they are taking up opportunities and we are still going to be controlled by them. This is why I'm so strong when I say African people in the diaspora, Black Americans, Caribbeans, Black Europeans, Black Asians, when you get the opportunity and you are able to, I would really encourage you to come and do something for yourself in the continent. Connect with people, like try to do some research. Let's be honest. The man in the first video was very open. In business, it's about the people that you know. And that means when a white person sets up a business in Africa, he's going to give opportunities to his fellow people. When a Chinese sets up businesses in Africa, he's going to give opportunities to his people. I see a lot of places that are owned by Chinese. It could be restaurants, it could be hotels, companies. And when you go in those places, even real estate, you're going to find that the managers, the people in bigger positions, are people of the owner of that specific business. So when you come from abroad as a Black person, with the currency that you carry, with the knowledge that you have, with the education that you have, with the ethic, professionalism, the mind that you have, when you bring that in the continent, I think, and I'm hoping, you're going to do the same thing when a lot of you come in the continent and try to set up things. I'm pretty sure you're going to give opportunities to the African people. So when we come together and you're able to help us, like in terms of how to learn business, how to manage business, that's something that we, I think, lack in our countries. And even though we might have those kind of minds, maybe some of the people that we can work with might not have those work ethic kind of mentality. So I think it's very important to understand that these people's eyes are very wide open and they are coming in big numbers. Like I always tell you guys, when you see a white person come out and speak about positive things in a place, he is talking to his people. Maybe not, but because he speaks, his people are going to listen and they will understand and they will take action. A lot of us might come and complain, like always, on why are you letting them in? Why is your government letting them in? Why are they even there? Why are they setting up these things? The thing is, you cannot chase away a person who has connections and money. That's something we can just never do, you know. And I don't think we have like people in big positions that can just wake up one day and be like, no more these people in the country. In fact, they want to see them in the country for them to receive money. These are the things that we need to look up to. When these people come out and say opportunities are in Africa, we have privilege in Africa, we'll be treated a certain way in Africa, it also gives opportunities to those that don't even have the capacities or the money, that when they come in, they have their people already having businesses set up, so they will get opportunities than the actual people that belong to the African countries. I think these are things that we need to take very seriously. And in the future, when we are constantly like fighting ourselves as African people, like Caribbean people, Black Americans, like attacking ourselves as a people, it's something that is not going to help us grow. Like these other groups of people see opportunities and they act. They see opportunities, they tell their people. They see opportunities, they move and work together as a people. Even though they have differences, they always have this thing where they still work together in those differences they carry. We somehow lack that, and I don't know how to explain it. In the future, as we say, Africa is going to have a big population. How is it going to help us in any way if we are going to have a big population of people controlled by the people that are still not black people? How are we going to grow if we are going to have a lot of productions, a lot of companies, a lot of businesses owned by people that are not majority from the continent? I think that is also going to be kind of useless for us to say, oh, we are going to be a big population, but then is that big population going to be controlling the things that are happening in the continent, or we are still going to be workers and slaves to the same people that have been coming and just taking from the continent to their homes in Europe, in Asia, in America? That's something we really, really need to understand. The other thing why I really emphasize the people from the diaspora coming in the continent is because the way things are mishandled, building things that are better for people, I think those things will change because the people that we have in the continent will now understand Africa is not only with African people, there's people that are bringing in money in the countries of Africa. So I do believe the things and the way things are handled will change and into a positive way. If you are just going to be there on your phone and complain on how these Asians, the whites, the Arabs, the Indians are coming in the continent, and you're not doing it or trying to do that, you keep on crying, you keep on complaining, I'll keep on complaining because I mean I can't work alone. That's obvious. We shouldn't put a lot of our expectations on the growth of Africa through the leaders that we have in the continent, because as we all know or mostly know, they are just for themselves and their families. So I think it's just us as a people to come and do things that are able to be done and just grow ourselves, because when we grow from the ground and start and build something, the people up will be forced to do better for the continent, for the black people. And that's when the African continent will grow into a positive, beautiful thing that we all crave and strive for. And also, I've seen a lot of videos of African people kind of trying to discourage Black Americans or Black people from the diaspora from coming in the continent, which I think is not okay. Yes, there are things that are not going to work out well for you in the continent, but I don't think we should make it like a big thing and like a big deal to discourage our brothers and sisters to coming in the continent, because in every country that you go to, things are going to happen. They might be positive, they might be negative. A lot of things have been happening to African people when they go to, let's say, America, to Asia, to the UAE, to the outside world, but it doesn't like discourage other Africans from going there. So yes, some things might be happening to the black people when they come in the continent, but it's not entirely the case that all of you guys are going to be affected. Like I always say, you need to make sure that you connect with the people that you feel comfortable with, but as well be cautious in the places that you go to. Like the white man said, if you are from America or Europe, you'll be seen as different. So this thing can also not only be on the white skin, it also affects you as a black person with the accent from the Western world. So these videos I've been seeing are just not okay. If white people are coming in and setting up things, if the white women are coming in and staying in the continent, what makes you think you are not able to do the same thing? Why are we making like this a big deal to discourage our brothers and sisters from the diaspora from coming in the continent when these other races of people are coming in and setting up things in the continent? So I'm really tired of seeing like those kind of videos where there's so much discouraging of black people from the diaspora into coming in the continent. Overall, I really want to encourage you to come in the motherland, to come home, connect with the people that you feel are going to help you. If you feel any kind of feeling that this might not be a right person, don't continue the conversation. Let it go until you find the right people. Do research, contact a lot of people before you make any decision. And also because there's groups of black people as well in the continent that will be willing to help you and let you know the pros and cons and what to expect, what to know, what to do, what not to do. So I do think it's a process that needs to be taken, but until we understand that the distractions of us concentrating on, let's say, sex or us fighting, pushing us backward, and it just gives a gap to these other groups of people to make it better in the African continent and to grow themselves, which I don't think it's good for us as African people, as black people. Yeah, guys, that is it for me in the video. Let me know what you think about this. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your time. Thanks for the super chats. I always appreciate them. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.